interesting piece from Harry Siegel in the New York Daily News. And he points out that, like, he admits that, like, hey, look, anytime you have one of these movements, you're going to get some undesirables. It's people hanging out outside all day, right?
Yep.
He said every protest or dissent draws from a dark carnival element. And he goes, and Zuccotti has had members of the group since the first week of the occupation. But he's not. He's suggesting they are a small minority. But I like the way he put it, a dark carnival element, right? But now there's swelling ranks, he describes here, of freeloaders. And a clash has developed between people on the east side of the park, who are the real people, and people on the west side of the park, who are the freeloaders, unless I have that totally backwards. But anyway,
Okay.
At one end of the park, the guys who have been in it and committed, and they're running the General Assembly at night, and they're making their plans, and the whole idea is inclusion, and then here are these people who you honestly, you don't really want to include, right? Which creates
Because they're not part of the movement.
Yeah, totally. It creates a fun little conceptual ethical problem. Well, here's how some of these people got here. And this is great. This is reading from his story. And so he did a bunch of interviews that he had. He said, police officers, is the suggestion, are sending ne'er-do-wells from the city to Zuccotti Park. Here's part of his quote. As the darker tone of unsteady and unseedy people, unstable types is starting to, he says, 2 different drunks that I spoke with last week told me they'd been encouraged to take it to Zuccotti by officers who'd found them drinking in other parks. And members of the Community Affairs Working Group related several similar stories they'd found while talking with intoxicated or aggressive new arrivals.
That is so unbelievably seedy. Now, look, when I was there, I was surprised at the lack of homeless people there, given that, hey, they've got free food, they've got sometimes free clothes, et cetera, et cetera. But somebody made a great point. In New York City, a lot of the blocks are the territory of one person. So they've got 53 and 6, let's say, right? They don't want to leave there. If they do, somebody else is going to squat in that spot. They probably earned that through years of squatting there, right?
Right.
I mean, there's this whole code with the homeless people. Now, the problem is the people that don't have that, because they can't even maintain the semblance of order that you need to maintain that spot, right? And so the police find these guys, the most unstable of the homeless people, and go, we got the perfect place for you, Zuccotti Park.
And this piece is really thoughtful by it, because he's not even ripping the cops. He's just like this is happening, and it's a downer. I mean, he's ripping them, but it's just very thoughtfully done. He says the New York press office, the NYPD press office, declined to comment on the record about any policy that might exist. But he says, but it seems a logical tactic from the Bloomberg administration, who obviously doesn't want them there anymore, making things difficult for the occupation. Quote, he's got a right to express himself. You've got a right to express yourself. Siegel says he heard 3 cops repeat in recent days using nearly identical language, all 3 cops, when asked to intervene with troublemakers inside the park, including a clearly disturbed man screaming and singing wildly at 3 a.m., meaning that basically these crazy people come into the park and the cops are like, you're making your point, he's making his point. It's America. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, and it goes to show you that they are desperate to get those guys out, and they're trying now underhanded tactics to do so, because they thought the confrontation idea was a bad idea. So that's why they're taking away their gas and whatever provided generators provided heating. They're sending in the most unstable people in New York to do it, etc. And it's really sad. I mean, I guess they're taking their orders from the top. Raymond Kelly, who is an enormous fan of the banks and gets funding for his parties from the banks. But I mean, if you're a regular cop who's a union guy, this doesn't help you at all to protect the banks. And then let me add one thing to that. Imagine that we live in a country where people protest and it's okay. Like that they're in a self-contained park. I swear I was there. It doesn't spill out from the park at all. It's just one basically block in the middle of New York. They're not bothering anybody. Imagine we live in a country that's actually free. Actually get together in a park and protest their government, and the cops aren't the bad guys, and they don't chase them out. They go, okay, great, they're doing their American right to protest, and that everything is fine. And how sad is it that we're so far away from that imagined world?